You know that voice that appears at 3 a.m.? The one that replays something you said 6 years ago and suddenly decides tonight is the night to put your life on trial. It's been doing this since you were a kid. Same voice, same timing, no mercy. Jung thought that voice could change as you changed. Grow up even. The Greeks gave that voice a rather unfortunate life. His name was Tiresias. By the end of this, you'll know why the 3 a.m. voice won't leave you alone and what it's actually trying to do. Everyone knows the story, Tiresias, the blind prophet. The version most people know, it's newer than you think. One version was edited into Wikipedia in 2006 by a high schooler, and from there it walked into the encyclopedia. It's not just Joe in the parking lot. The standards of that encyclopedia have fallen. Here's the thing they got wrong. Hera didn't transform him. The snakes did, and they're the weird part. Tiresias struck 2 mating snakes, became a woman, lived like that for 7 years. Then, years later, he saw them again, struck them, became a man, which is why when Zeus and Hera got into the argument of the millennium, who enjoys it more, there was exactly one referee available. Picture 2 gods bickering like a couple at a dinner party. "You can't know," she says. "Oh, and you can," he says. And one mortal raises his hand. Been there, done both. He sided with Zeus. 10 parts to 1, he said. Hera didn't take it well. She took his eyes. Zeus took the trade, sight for sight. "Take the eyes," he said, "and I'll give him something better. I'll give him the future." And that's the whole show right there. The man who sees everything can't see anything. Blind, and the only one who could tell you the truth. Last time, the voice in your head was a woman, Ariadne, the guide who held the thread. And our story gives that voice another face, older, blinder, considerably less patient. Coupling snakes on Mount Silene. Tiresias was a shepherd. He hit them with his staff. Ancient logic. You interrupt something sacred. You inherit its power. He became a woman. 7 years a woman. Nobody in the myth explains the transition. It just says, and he lived as a woman. Fine. Moving on. Later, same place, same snakes. He hit them again. He became a man. The oracle told him to do it. Even his gender swap had a user manual. He's the only man in history whose biography includes the phrase returned to his former sex. And the gods kept him around. You don't throw away the one witness who's seen both sides. Which brings us to the argument. Zeus, women get more from it. Hera, absolute nonsense. Zeus, winning the argument by being louder. Ask the man who's been both. Tiresias, 10 parts, she gets 10, you get 1. Hera's face, that's the whole scene. Blinded, Zeus, guilty and slightly smug, offers a trade. "The birds," said Zeus. "The flight of birds, the entrails, the voices on the wind, you'll read them all." And Tiresias became the one prophet no city could afford to ignore. Thebes kept him on retainer. Kings hated him. Everyone needed him. Because the truth teller gets hired, and then the truth gets him fired. The pattern starts early. He tells a king the truth. The king doesn't want it. The king shoots the messenger. But here's the part that should stop you. Death didn't fix him. In the Odyssey, Odysseus goes down to the Underworld to ask the way home. The dead file past him, wives, warriors, mothers, all shadows, all empty. And one shade keeps his wits, the only one, Tiresias. The dead man is the most alive thing down there. That's our guy. He tells Odysseus the way, the suitors, the ore, the whole trip. Even in hell, the blind man saw clearest. Then the famous one, Oedipus, the king who outran his fate. Oedipus summons the prophet. The city is cursed. Fix it. Tiresias doesn't want to say it. He tries to leave. Oedipus won't let him. So he says it. "You're the one. You killed him. You're the curse." Wait. Before you roll your eyes at another Oedipus summary, look at what the prophet actually does. He doesn't just tell the future. He tells the king to stop. Oedipus refuses. The king, a man who has solved every riddle so far. "I didn't ask for the truth. I asked for the culprit." "There is no difference," says the blind man. Oedipus accuses him. Conspiracy. Treason. The prophet who can't be bought gets called bought. The truth teller's job. Say it, get accused, wait. And then the truth lands anyway, and the king does what the blind man already saw. Tiresias never even gets an apology. The gods don't do apologies. The man who saw everything. The record can't even agree on how he died. The versions can't agree on anything. But Tiresias didn't just die in a Greek myth. He moved. He moved from the ancient stage directly into the mind of a 20th century Swiss psychiatrist who was hearing voices of his own. Carl Jung had a voice in his head. He wrote it down. He argued with it. And he remembered that Socrates had one too. An inner voice that only ever said no. The daemon. The guide. The thing that speaks when you're about to do something stupid. You've got one. You've had it since you were 6. Jung watched these inner figures change across his patients' lives. The voice doesn't stay the same. He watched it happen in a patient's dreams. A woman chased by men, her own harsh inner voice, wearing the shape of pursuers. And as she did the work, the pursuers changed. They stopped chasing. One of them became a guide. The tormentor, grown old, became the teacher. That's the whole psychology in one dream. In Jung's own writing, the grown-up inner figure takes many forms. The magician, the doctor, the priest, the teacher, the grandfather. And in our map, the guide changes too. Ariadne carried the thread. Tiresias carries the lamp. That's how we see it here. The voice doesn't just talk, it grows up. Don't look for that sentence in Jung. Look for it in your own life. Jung recognized another figure, the Senex, the old man, the elder. Not necessarily a literal grandfather in a cave, an archetype, a pattern that shows up when you've stopped pretending you know the way. Remember the end of last episode? The voice changes, it gets older, wiser. This is that moment, the bottom of the labyrinth, the old man with the lamp. Tiresias is the Senex wearing a myth, blind so he can see the inside of things. But watch the shadow. Every elder has a dark twin. The false guru, the bitter old man, the critic who corrects without compassion. You know that voice too. It doesn't guide, it grades. Not good enough, too late. Who do you think you are? That's not the wise old man. That's the wise old man's shadow, wearing his coat. But spotting that shadow voice is only half the battle. At the end of this, I'm going to show you the one question that changes the conversation. And here's where the Wikipedia story comes back. Because the myth got edited in 2006, and so does yours. Your inner elder has been rewritten by everyone who ever told you what to think. The myth is old, the edits are yours. The audience on Reddit spent 20 comments hunting the origin of one version. People care where stories come from. I checked the Wikipedia diff once. It's still there. The whole story, edited in by someone's homework assignment. The encyclopedia cited Wikipedia. Wikipedia cited a teenager, and the teenager, as far as anyone can tell, cited nothing. Watch the edit happen. One line, typed, saved, and suddenly the whole world has a new version of the story. That's not a joke about Wikipedia. That's a map of how you got your inner voice. Somebody edited it, somebody else believed it, and it's been running you ever since. So who edits it back? That's the whole question. Gandalf, Yoda, Dumbledore. Same job description, better employment conditions. Long before them, Greek myth gave the role to a blind prophet everyone needed, and nobody wanted to listen to. The fiction mentors want you to win. Tiresias just wants you to stop lying to yourself. Our series isn't following Campbell's map here. We made our own. The hero meets the monster, meets the mirror, meets the thread. And last, when they're ready, the elder. The guide at the end of the road, the one who says the thing you've been circling. And nobody else could say it, because nobody else had been both. The both is the point, man and woman, sighted and blind, alive and dead. Our Tiresias keeps crossing the boundaries everyone else treats as fixed, man and woman, sighted and blind, alive and dead. The elder's gift isn't answers, it's the refusal to pretend there's only one side. The 3 a.m. voice? It's not nagging, it's been both, it knows what you're about to do. Overthinkers, you know the loop, replaying the conversation, rehearsing the future, a Ferrari engine with bicycle brakes. Socrates' voice only ever said one word, no. That's the daemon. It warns, it never commands. In this story, the voice that orders you around sounds more like the shadow. The elder is quieter. Often it just says no. Tiresias told Oedipus no, told him to stop digging. Oedipus dug anyway. And the digging was the tragedy, not the truth, the refusal to stop and listen. The wise old man isn't a person. It's the part of you that already knows and is waiting to be asked. You don't find him at the end of the road. You find him when you stop pretending you know the way. The thread got you out of the labyrinth. The elder tells you why you went in. Ariadne held the line. Tiresias tells you where it leads. And he's been waiting the whole time. Same lamp, same patience, slightly annoyed. The lamp held up. The shadows it makes are the map. Before the practice, the usual note. This is philosophy, not therapy. If the voices in your head are hurting you, get real help, please. The practice is one thing. It's called consulting the elder. Sit somewhere quiet, close your eyes, and instead of the voice that nags, call the one that knows. Jung's method, active imagination. Treat the figure as psychologically real for the exercise. A character you can question, not an external being you have to believe exists. You ask it a question, and you wait, not for a lecture, for a word, a no, not yet. Last episode you wrote the letter you'd never send. This one you ask the elder one question. Write the question, then let the answer come from the back of the room. I did this once. I asked mine why I kept making the same mistake. It said, because you keep asking it that way. The elder doesn't give you what you want. It gives you the question you were dodging. The week challenge. Every night, one question to the elder. Same question. See if the answer changes. Jung's patient watched her tormentors become a guide. You might not draw. You might just hear one sentence. That's enough. One sentence is enough. The voice that argued with you at 3 a.m., ask it once in daylight what it's afraid of. It might be offended. It's not used to being asked. That's the whole practice. Sit, ask, wait, write what comes. The elder shows up when you do, like all of them. Back to 2006, the teenager, the Wikipedia edit. Here's what the edit added. Hera, the angry feminist, transforming Tiresias into a woman as a punishment. It's not in the ancient sources, not in Ovid, not in Hyginus, not in Apollodorus, not anywhere. The sources agree. The snakes transformed him. Hera only took the eyes. And it's now in the Britannica, because one night someone did homework. The version you know might be a century or two wrong, or, in this case, 18 years wrong. The myth survived thousands of years of poets. It couldn't survive a teenager with an account. And that's the thing about the voice in your head. It's a myth too. It got edited by your parents, your teachers, your exes, your feed. Some of it is ancient. Some of it is 2006. Some of it is last Tuesday. The work isn't killing the voice. It's finding the edit history. In our reading, the blind prophet sees because he stops trusting the version he's been given. The both. That's the seeing, holding two sides at once. Jung called it the transcendent function. The thing that happens when the opposites stop fighting and start talking. In our map, the woman and the thread become the old man and the lamp. The guide grows up. And the elder's final gift, he tells you what you already knew, so you can stop needing him. Tiresias told Oedipus the truth, and Oedipus still had to walk into it himself. That's the job. Say it once. Let them walk. The wise old man is the only guide who works by making himself unnecessary. In the Underworld, he was the only one still thinking, because he was the only one who'd stopped pretending. So the voice in your head tonight at 3 a.m., listen. Really listen. It's not the enemy. It's not a glitch. It's the daemon, the elder, the part of you that's been both. Some version of it has been with you since before you had words for it. It's just finally old enough to say so. The myth got edited. Yours did too. You're allowed to edit it back. The thread was always yours. The lamp is yours now too. You've met the shadow, the hero, the anima. And now the elder. One inner figure left. The one that decides who you fall for. Next time, the animus. The man in her head. The voice that argues. And the one that's right. He's the opposite of the elder. He never waits to be asked. He just shows up, sure of himself. When you can't tell whether the voice is yours or his, that's the episode. That is next time, on Mindscape Philosophy. This is Season 2, Jungian Mythology. Tonight, the elder is listening. Tomorrow, you follow the thread.